Shalom Israel. As usual, we're going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Wahad, Rakah, Kadash. Give double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel, the rule and teacher, and the Akims of the highways and byways and local videos and truth and sincerity. To the brothers and sisters of the truth. And what we're going to start off giving some clarity to something which is a bit, something that's a bit misunderstood. When you read it, get on 1 Timothy, verse 15 first.
It's the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 15. And it reads, "Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety."
So it says, notwithstanding that she shall be saved in childbearing. Now, at times we hear brothers teach that, a sister's going to be saved from them bearing children. But then you don't really see that kind of portrayed throughout the scriptures. Now, if you look at that word childbearing now, which I want to bring out, that word childbearing, actually read from verse 11 down, you get the understanding.
This is the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 11. And it reads, going past that, First Timothy chapter 2 verse 11. "Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection." Verse 12. "But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to observe authority over the man."
At the moment, you can see that it's talking about women being teachers. It says, "Let the woman learn in silence, and I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over a man." Read.
And not to usurp authority over a man, but to be in silence. Verse 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. Verse 14. "And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression." Verse 15. "Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing."
So the context of what we're reading is about women teaching, women not teaching, them being taught. So now when you come down to 15, all of a sudden it switches to women being saved for having children. No, the understanding of that, the childbearing, that's getting into a woman being taught.
It goes it's twofold, isn't it?
Yeah. Now,
no, it's twofold, meaning like the first one will be childbearing. Obviously, if you meet a woman and you have children, a child with her, she will be so through that. But there's another deeper part that people, that I heard the brother says, he said, oh, you have to get these women. So I asked him, what if a woman is like 60 and that, and you meet her? There's some fine 60 years old, women out there that if a brother, like for example, a brother, our elder as a point, Ravan, meet this woman that is 60 and fine as hell, like they say, yeah. She probably can't give birth, but he's telling me that basically, if it's Yahweh, then the miracle is here. And I'm thinking, first of all, well, no, it's not even that. It's just like this. Look, we have to do everything with logic and wisdom, right? Why would you have a child in this situation? If it happened but that old, you don't need that. And I believe in it, even in Matthew 24, it tells you about. Obviously, it's not the same. But that already is a past prophecy, but it does apply. When he said, "Woe to them that are bearing, children that are pregnant," that you have to be careful. You know what I mean? So it must be what God is about to bring down.
So when you get into that word for childbearing, you got the Strong's G5041. Then you go to the origin, brings you around to G5043. This is what it says. Point 3 says, in the New Testament, pupils or disciples are called children of their teachers. Yeah, because the latter, by their instruction, nourish the minds of their pupils and mold their characters. So that childbearing is dealing with a sister being taught in this sense here.
Yeah, because it's happening right now where, you have women that you teach. You know what I'm saying? I do teach few women, French women. I do teach them. But some of them are single, one of them has a husband. You know what I'm saying? Now, the husband cannot teach them. They need the salvation. You know what I'm saying? They need the salvation. So normally, I'll go to the men and say, yo, I'll tell her, I want to speak to your man. But when it's social, when the man don't care, because he's out there being a demon, and she get the truth, she want to know the truth, say, now, she, you know what I'm saying? That's my baby, that's my fruit.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's my fruit. And that's what he's talking about. Because a lot of these men will be coming from all over the place to be told. But we have to teach them the truth so that they can be saved. Now, it might happen, according to 1 Corinthians 7, that through her, the men might be saved, or if it doesn't work out, then the men will separate whoever is supposed to have her, or you got women that will become eunuchs. But then there are many too that are eunuch, spiritual eunuch, just like Yahushua when he was, Yahushua and Paul and others. And there are women that are spiritual eunuch, but it's not meant for them to have a man.
They'll be told.
But they'll be told and they'll be saved because of that. So, that's what.
Let's make 2 points. 1 point, if you look at the word childbearing, it's not saying childbirth, it's saying childbearing. So to bear is to lift up or to hold up. That's point number 1. Point number 2, the word teacher, Elohim, is rabbi. Rabbi means ra, to behold, to see. Ab means father. So it's literally saying, behold the father, which is what so teachers were known as fathers, and the students were the children.
Well, the Bible is double, man. You gotta understand the Bible is a deep. I'm getting to realize that this Bible is not what it talks, man. Yeah, because that's why Yahushua was always speaking in parable. And that's why I know that literature came from Shakespeare. That's how I know that Shakespeare must have been a Negro, because only us, even when we listen to the rappers, the way they talk, that double talk, that parable, all of that image, metaphors. See, that's the Bible, man. The Bible is the real literature.
Point 4, it says, children of the Most High, in the Old Testament of the people of Israel, as especially dear to the Most High, says in the New Testament, in Paul's writings, all who are led by the Spirit of the Most High, and thus closely related to the Most High. So read verse 15 again.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Notwithstanding...
Remember, from 11 down, it's dealing with a woman being taught. You not being the teacher, you being taught. So now we come to 15, all of a sudden she's going to be saved through some slide and wine. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people will be saved through that as well. A lot of them that are married with these men in the truth can be saved if they're not weak.
They're not with someone.
If they're not with someone, because I'm not going to be having sex with everyone. Listen, because spiritually we don't even, people that have sex all over the place, you realize that it's foolish, because it makes you weak, because you're seeing, that's why you're straight up in Babylon. So you got porn industry. The reason why Amalek came up with porn industry, because you know that the most people that will react to it is chick. So we used to many people, many women. But what it does is something with wickedness. Having sex every day. Yeah, having sex every day weaken you. That's a fact. So for us to be having sex with many women, we need spiritual power, man. How people were strength back then, they could deal with that. But right now we can't be giving every time our seed. We have to keep it. Especially now that these people are working to come against us. You have to be careful how we want to say something like that.
I think that scripture, one of the key words is if. If.
Addition.
In addition.
Addition. Or in addition.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
She shall be saved through being taught. And where's she being taught? God.
If they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Yeah, you have to grow in these things, because we have women that, they're in the truth, and one day the demon jump on them. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I just wanted to say, just like what the brother said, she has to be taught. Now, what's the thing she has to be taught? Now, this is why I just wanted to just jump to verse 10. This is what she will be taught. Like when the brother brought out, This is 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 10. But which becometh women professing godliness with good works. That's what she's going to be taught. Yeah, is the good works.
A lot of women are waking up, so they need to be taught the right way of behaving in this truth. If you're not taught the right way, tend to sometimes, what it is in this world, come in this truth, you still have the mentality, and then sometimes you mix it with truth. When the pressure comes, the first thing that will jump out of you is your old mentality.
It's true. Yeah,
So now, after you finish that teaching, that's all.
First Corinthians 14.
First Corinthians chapter 14 verse 34. Let your women keep silent in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, or as also saith the law. Verse 35. And if they will learn anything,
Here comes the childbearing part now.
let them ask their husbands at home.
Now, like the brother said, if you've not got a husband, obviously the sister in the truth will be learning from a man in the truth. You know? So that's how they'll be saved from them being taught. That's what I'm saying. Is there more?
Yeah. For it is a shame for women to speak in the church.
That's right. Well, that's the understanding reading behind that verse.
That's a good point, man. Because I'm reading that time. Otherwise, I was going to be like, looking at everything moving. Even Isaiah 4 and 1.
What? That's coming up. Who's got that?
Let's explain
But
that
this is
as well.
another part of the childbearing still.
But obviously, you know, that one as well, that will be your wife in it. But there's different sort of wife. Even in the Old Testament, you got different level of women. But, you know, let's use wisdom, man. Let's use wisdom. You can have women where you don't have the sex with them, but you have that bond where they know who you are and they can recognize, you know, what you can be, what you can do in their life. So they will submit in that sense where they will say, you know what, I want you, I want that, I want you what you have. I want to be ready for this time, man. You know what I mean? We are open, man, because I already mastered, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Last time I did someone that almost got me on my knees. So I'm not saying that I'm wrong. I can teach women where I know that, you know, I don't have to touch them, you know, but that comes with trying to do better. Trying to be, that's what we're trying to be good. We're not saying that we're good, but me personally, I like saying that. I like the challenge of wanting to be good. You know, I don't want to say, I want to be able to say, wow, look at myself, man. I used to love women, but now I don't even feel this. I want to go there. But it's available for us. Do you think Paul wasn't a woman? He didn't have women. A gangster, like him, women love gangsters, man. They love bad boys, and Paul was a bad boy. He was just an intelligent bad boy. So you think he didn't have women? But when he got trapped by Yahweh, he left that alone. And we went hard for Yahweh. The most I can put a spirit on you to be like that. You can deal with women, but my point is the woman ain't gonna be your priority. You're gonna go hard for the Most High, man. But that's a spiritual thing with you.
It's possible.
Yeah, that's 1 Corinthians 72.
But
The reason why I said that,
but that way, you're able to give more of your time.
Right.
But remember, if you got a woman, you still have to make time for her.
but he's saying that you have trouble in the flesh. Because a woman,
He goes, by agreement, put her aside for a period of time and then you come back so that you don't go straight.
so what if you got a woman that loves the thing there? Every time you tell her you want to read the Bible for 1 hour, she say always the Bible. You and the Bible. You and the Bible. If you say, yeah, if you say you want one day for fasting, she will say, yo, but every time you fast, what do you think you are, man? You think you're masking your God. See, that's why it's about the truth is your life.
That's right.
The first woman,
That's your first love.
first love.
First love.
That's why Paul, he recognized that. If I'm going to go hard, I'm going to have to leave these women alone. And he understood the kingdom as well. You see, there's different degrees of faith. There's people that have faith you don't understand, man. But he understood the kingdom. He so many times the glory of the Most High. So he knows. You get what I'm saying? He knows, man. So he said, yo, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to do the work of the Most High. All right? Because that's my first woman. So Paul said, if you can be with that woman, well, how long, how many of us, me, I don't think I'm Paulo. I don't think I'm Paulo.
You don't
I can take it for a bit. I'm not Paulo. I can take it for a bit, but I don't know when it's, you know what I'm saying? So I'm praying for me to get, you know, the woman. I'm not going to come here and say that I want to be Paul. I'm praying for me. I want to be, you know, I want to be a woman that understand like me, understand like me, a woman that's the truth. That will make it easy on me because we know that the women in the world, they have a certain standard that right now, I don't even involve in going there. Alright? So that's very important. Okay? Let's go, man. Let's go start that. So we're a very good topic, my brother. This is, you know what I'm saying, the women, they're very important to the building of our nation. That's right. Well, if you teach them, I can take away that vibration. Because you got women that come in the truth to make me fall, you know. Yeah. There's women that wear 50 before. Yeah. So if you teach them, practically they don't know better. You know what I'm saying?
That's why it goes back to that first book in 14. It says let them learn.
I mean, you saw that one on Saturday, that one. She's gonna make you fall in a minute. She's gonna make my next shower in the morning. That's what I'm See, something like that, you know what I mean? Something like that. But she need to friend you down. See, the most side, but the most side is in the midst. The outside is in the midst. The spirit in the midst. We're talking about a virtuous woman. We don't know her.
Yeah, but at least
you can see the way she fights.
Attire is pleasing.
That's what we need, my brothers. Don't be thinking about these worldly women. Take a woman that's sometimes it's rare, but it can happen.
with their fringes up here. On the belly top.
Fringes on the belly top.
That must be just out though. That's dangerous. No way.
That's rough.
No, but that was true though.
Yeah, big up.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
And that 7 days doesn't mean 7. It's like completion. That means the completion of that prophecy, man. You know, I mean, yeah, now here. That's the reason why it says that. But when you read the 25th verse of the previous chapter, which is Isaiah 3, well, it tells you that a lot of these men will fall off because judgment is coming, isn't it? It's already here with our side now. So maybe in 2 years, a lot of these men will be dead. Now these men are human, right? So now, after a while now, these men will start to realize that this is the truth. Because they will know that there's no other, you know, anything else don't matter but the truth.
And we don't know that because in the world, like if a brother's doing well, they know well, he's the one to go with, not this one here.
That's me.
Now they're going to go for the real goal. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Go for the real goal.
That's why it says in Job 32 and 19 that she wasn't given much wisdom. So we can't blame our women for being who they are. What we can do is help those who understand the truth, build up more and be more ready for that time. And those who are not in the truth, that will, you know, stumble upon that teaching, will know how to behave so you can have favor in the eyes of the people. Because that day, you will have the spirit to know. When God can come with friends, when you need to read the spirit and know, she might be beautiful, but then she's a wicked woman. Then she's a Maya, she's Mrs. Maya. So being Mrs. Maya, she's going to be destroyed. But if you don't have, because women are very tricky, so you need the spirit to see women and be able to know that these women are
day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread.
Yeah. So right now the problem is when you read it, what is it? Is it Exodus or Deuteronomy? When he say that if you take, I think it's 22 or whatever, when you take care of them, if a man have 2 women, you know, you have to be able to deal with them equally. So if you give that, I have it in my book, but I can't remember. If you got one, you give 200 pounds, the month, the other way you have to give 200 pounds. So right now that's the issue. It's not really wise to really have a woman, but in that time, they will come, they will tell you, no, you don't need to do that. We have our own. I have my own yard, my own whatever. I guess, yes. Yes, you can.
It says, and we shall eat our own bread. That's talking about this word, man. You know, they're going to come back to, they're going to throw away all those other philosophies that they realize is rubbish, man. It was nothing but, you know, instructions. So they're going to put people in the way that Egyptology.
But Miss Maya, she knew, she saw she was with Don Dada. Don Dada had everything. Dada got killed by Yahweh, by Yahweh.
And see a brother in the Lord. Yeah, they're getting Jews.
So the one of the Lord now, he is strong.
That's right.
She like, it must be the one that's supposed to put the women are good at that.
You know, ladies, you don't believe in the world? Yeah? Want to hear something about it?
Oh, that's a very good thing. So let's talk about, don't even go there. Go 1 Corinthians 2 and 9. Let's start, man. Let's teach our sisters about the truth, man. And then we're gonna slide to Deuteronomy 22. That's the warm, the soul and the warm. That's where they're gonna go. Yeah. 1 Corinthians 2 and 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 9.
Bring that up.
And it reads, but as it is written,
Well, as is written,
eye has not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man.
is that first Timothy 2 and 9. It's right here. I said 1 Corinthians is right here. I apologize. Yes.
I'm doing that for you in heaven. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Yes. Now, but for you to get into the kingdom,
I just read what you are.
yes, for you to get into the kingdom, there's a certain thing that we have to do. Do you understand what that is?
Okay. This is 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 9, and it reads, in like manner also
The
women adorn themselves
women adorn themselves
in modest apparel.
in modest apparel. So the Most High, He wants women to be modest in the way they dress, in the way they present themselves. Alright? Carry on.
With shamefacedness.
With shamefacedness. So basically, if you see in society, a lot of women, they're praising. Yeah? You know why? Because most of the time they don't want to pay the bills at home. They don't have a job, they don't want to try to sit. So you put a spirit of man, of authority in the
It's the same reason. This is Surah, chapter 25.
Brother had the precept in bring it out.
Surah 25 and 22. It says, a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impotence, and much reproach.
So because it's not meant, the natural order of things do not allow a woman to take care of the man. The reason why women do that, because we are in captivity. And what our enemy, the oppressor, did, he put the woman on top of the man. Because someone gave Jeremy 31 and 22, let us pay now. That's the curse. Alright, it's not normal. It's not normal that you rule over your man. It's not normal. 31 and 22. It's not normal, it's a curse.
And when you look at the brother did a video on the winning in, that was part of their plan. In slavery, a lot of our households work together. After slavery now, they started to break down the family structure. Yeah,
That's what it did.
Jeremiah 31 and 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord has created new things in the earth. A woman shall do things in the earth.
I mean, once I made it now normal, why? Because us men, Israelite men, we are the real Israelites. The blacks and Hispanic and the real Jews, the real Israelites, the Bible speaks of. But because us men went against him, so he want to make us feel the pain of right, because the Bible says in Jeremiah 62 that the Most High will see us as his wives. So now, we went with other idols, that means spiritually committing adultery. So now in his pain, he said, I'll make you feel I'll make he said, I'll make a woman now jealous, go out there, cheat on you, and not only that, they will control you. So that's a curse that we are under. Right? Yeah, precept quickly before we carry on.
Isaiah 3 and 12. As for my people, children are the oppressed.
Children are oppressed of the gangs. See the gangs? You can say that the gangs are the uncontrolled. The parent can't say nothing.
They're getting younger.
Yeah. Right.
As for my people,
She says, as for my people,
children are the oppressed, and the women
Most of my people. Children rule over them.
no, children are their oppressors.
Oh, sorry,
women,
I'm an oppressor, yeah.
and women rule over them.
there's an order. When you read 1 Corinthians 11 and 3,
No.
as for my people, read again. Who you get first Corinthians 11?
Isaiah chapter 3 verses 12. As for my people,
As for my people.
children are the oppressors,
Children are the oppressor, the gangs and that.
and women
And women.
rule over them.
So who is my people? Who's the head of the house? Who is the head of the house? Right. So when he said, as for my people, when the Most High want to talk to his people, he talk to the men first. He doesn't deal with women like that. Men go now and relay information to the women. But
Are you forgetting that a lot of the men are not around?
No, they can't hear us.
that's
So
the curse.
this is why these things happen.
No, we just explain it to you. What's going on right now?
Yes, now, 1 Corinthians 11 and 3.
This is the correct order of things, how it should have been. Yeah? This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, the one that is Christ. Yeah? And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Yahushua is God.
That's the order of things. But because of our sins now, this is what's happening.
Most High, then Christ, then man, then woman, then children. That's the correct.
So now, got this. Jeremiah 31 and 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter?
All that backsliding daughters.
Us as a people.
Alright, now backsliding daughters. Yes, what the Bible says.
It says, for the Lord has created a new
For the
thing.
Lord has created a new curse visiting the children of Israel.
In the earth, a woman shall compass a man.
A woman shall, you know when they say, I'm going to circle around you square, meaning like, I'm controlling you, I'm manipulating you, I'm your competition, I'm your container. And that's what's happening sometimes in couple. You can see that competition, and the woman want to have more money, she want to control things and that, because that's the curse. Now, what we're doing is that now we're reversing things. What we're doing now, we want to now bring back the order like it used to be before. Now, when you want to build a nation, you start with a woman. Why? Because the women are the one who teach the children, and the children is the future of the nation. So we go through the women. Bring that, yeah, he had it for a long time.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 26 and verse 14.
Bring that up.
A silent and loving woman
A silent and loving woman
is a gift of the Lord.
is a gift of the Lord. So that means a woman that's quiet and that don't talk enough, the shed face, that's a gift. She's a blessing to the men that marry her. A blessing. You know what I'm saying?
And there's nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
And there's nothing so much worth of what?
A mind well instructed.
Now, can someone go? Do you want to say something
I just want to
here?
say something. Now, when it talks about that there's nothing more worth than a mind well instructed, the mind is talking about well instructed the laws of the Most High.
Teaching them. Teaching them.
That's what, because what it is, the husband is supposed to teach the wife the laws.
What verse is that one?
That's in the Apocrypha.
That's in the book.
When you get the original King James 16, have you got your Bible with you? When you get the original King James 1611, they took those books out. Maccabees,
Oh, it's on this side.
She's got a question for us.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Where are you from, madam?
okay.
You know, that's how you know. That's how you know. That's how you know.
Now, you see this? This is the original 1611. Did you just know that? Yeah. Now, this one, now, if you look in here, now, see that book, that little, the book he's got there? This is this section. This was removed. See this section? When the Roman came into power, they removed this section out of the Bible because there's certain things this teaching that it will go against their teaching, so they removed that out of the Bible. But if you have an original like this, it's in its correct place.
I don't have an original. I think I might. But I tried to read it.
Yeah.
I was reading it.
Yeah?
She did. A warrior.
Yeah, but she was in order.
See with Judith now, the reason why Judith did what she did was the men that weren't stepping up to the plate. You should learn from a godly man. Yeah, and if the men that ain't stepping up to the plate, that's what normally happens, you know what I'm saying? So the most I would. Yeah. So even with Deborah that he was speaking about, after Deborah did what she did, she then put it back over to the bench. You know what I'm saying? That's the order. And we need the protectors.
Now, let's think this. Are you going now? You didn't give me the...
Yes.
We are the Israelites.
Hey, can someone read that? It's 20 to 25.
Yeah, let me hear this.
Let the prophet read it because you read it. Let him read it. Yeah, mommy. Two mummies, yeah?
This is the book of Deuteronomy.
Yeah, mommy. So, read that one.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 5. Woman shall not wear that which pertaineth
The woman
unto
shall
a
not.
man.
Read that again. Slowly.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
It's not supposed to happen.
We explain why though.
Neither shall a man put on a woman garment.
Exactly. Now, someone can talk about
Now, it puts spirits on you. Now, the example I like to use, what man do you normally see in a dress that acts masculine? How do they normally act?
Here's the point. Before you carry on. A lot of the movies where you got black actors, a lot of them are wearing dress. There's a reason why.
Something I would
There's a play or something coming out about black.
What's that?
A play about black. It's out now. It's about black. Victorian men. Yeah. And I was actually looking at this on my phone because you know the Victorians they wore like high colours and long nails and stuff like that. And I was actually thinking to myself, the men did look a bit feminine in the way
So that's the Victorian, that's when, what's the time then? What's the time?
1800s,
But that style dressing came from Jacobite. You were wearing look like, you know how you wear garment now?
not like your
Not like that.
you would rock the garment but you would like men. Yeah, but they
so
Was that
these are.
was that the image that was advertised or was that the images that you saw?
It was the image of a play.
Well, right, the plays are usually directed and made by kids. That's number one. And the whole concept of a play comes from Greece, right? And it was gay. So forget that. Right. So I have a point to bring out with wearing a woman's garment. Now, the reason why it stresses woman's garment because there's such thing as a man's garment, which is what we're wearing. Because usually when we bring this out, people, not you, but some sisters will walk up and say, well, yeah, but you've got an dress, right? But this is not a dress. This is a garment. No, I'm just stressing. This is a garment. And this verse is indicating that there's such thing as a man's garment, which is called a ephod. So that's just what I want to bring out.
Yeah, so women are not supposed to be wearing that, but that's part of the person. And what was saying,
What spirits on you? So men in a dress, they act more. Women in pants, they become more bold. You know what I'm saying? So it puts particular spirits on you.
yeah, have you heard that expression saying, oh, she's wearing the trousers?
But it's true what you're saying in a way because even for myself, sometimes depending on what I'm wearing, I act different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So women supposed to dress wear something like you want to say something before?
And also, one thing about when women wear trousers, like a women's area has to breathe. Now, when you're wearing trousers locked up, that's why some women have grown to think like crotch and stuff like that. And knees because there's no air circulating in that area because it's all locked up in the trousers. That's another reason why. You know that this area has to be aired out. You know, that's why it shouldn't be locked up in trousers. Like
It's a science behind it. It's a science behind
because
it.
men, what we are, we're external. Women are internal. That's, you know, it is what it is.
When you look at history as well, it's not why the images of slavery, all our sisters had them dressed. You know, my grand, she died at 92. She never once wore a dress. But some of the excuses, one of the excuses you hear.
You know what? You learn something every day. So
No, no.
well, it's something that I know already, but it still comes back.
That's right. Just try and put it to practice this, because if Christ comes back and catches us in various apparel, there's judgment in the Bible for that. We read you the law, but there's also a judgment for it as well.
Yeah, but I don't really come back to the natural state, the way they wear, because the reason why there's a lot of, prostitution, but really prostitution is not a woman selling for prostitution is a woman that has more than two men. More than one man, so like more than one man. But when you dress a certain way, like that, the Bible says that we're not supposed to be halls of the daughters of Zion, right? But when you wear a certain thing, what happened when the men see you now? That was nasty. But before, when the man saw you, he wanted to marry you.
That's another point. One last thing, what brother made there, women these days tend to wear tight trousers and show your figure. So man don't normally approach you thinking, what, to make a good sister, make a good wife. It's like, I'm not really, like you said, introduce it. Everybody wear Israel, yeah? Maybe the former life, man.
All right, come on.
Hey, that's a speech, brother. Are you sure you never
You must have been in the old life.
Maybe lyrics at one time.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, read that again from the top.
This is the book of Isaiah 4, chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
that's right. So,
saying,
obviously, that perfection being accomplished, because the woman will need. If someone gave me Isaiah 13 and 12, but the men, us men, be like, woo.
blinging, man.
Bringing, man. You know, like spiritually, you know.
Yeah.
And you be like, you know what I'm saying? You have spiritual power in that day, man. You know? Yeah.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold.
I will make a man more precious. Honestly, anybody can say, oh, this is not about any man. When you go to Isaiah 4:25, you say in that day, men going to be dying. These men going to be, you know what I'm saying? So the men that will be around, those are the men. Those who are alive will be humble. And they will want even to serve. They will want to learn from the prophet. And the women them, they will want to follow the godly men.
It's going to be those men that are being fired right now.
Yeah, we're going through it. We're going through it, man. So by the time we get there, we gold already. Because we've been purified. A lot of these guys don't want to be purified, man. They want to be running around, they want to be living their life, living a good life. While we're going through the hardship.
This is Sirach, chapter 37, verse 12.
Yeah.
It says, be continually
with
a godly man.
With the godly men. So these women better be with the godly men. I mean, some women know right now, so we're teaching them, you know.
It says, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord.
That's right.
Whose mind is according to thy mind.
Now you hear that last bit, whose mind is according to thy mind, and then read on.
And will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry.
Right, what did you bring out earlier about the childbearing? Right.
That's right. Yeah, bring that down. John, bring it down a bit, man.
Well, I know, we broke it down earlier. I just wanted to bring that point. Remember, it's the same thing we broke down. Yeah.
Sirach 37, 20 and 12. It says, be continually with a godly man.
Yeah. Bring that out.
Ecclesiastes chapter 26 and verse 23.
Bring that out.
A wicked woman is given unto a portion to a wicked man.
That's right.
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth Yahweh.
So you feel like me, my ex, I know I was wicked, that's why I got that type of ex. That's right. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense, man. It makes sense. So I accept it. I have to go through, I must have done something. So like, yeah, my former
So
life.
you or we?
No. I'm talking about women.
No, you say you. We're saying we.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Sarah 26 and 3. A good wife is a good portion which shall be given in the portion of them that fear Yahweh.
Right. So really and truly, you have to prepare yourself for these good women, because they're going to come. But the most I want to see for a body. Like they say, a body. Like my students, a body. You got to be about this truth, man. You got to really be about this truth. And the most I know is our hearts. So don't worry, these people come. Some of them beautiful, some of them less beautiful, they'll be beautiful from the inside. From the inside.
No, I just agree with what my brother just said about sometimes the exterior might not be all there, but the inside is, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, because when you sell the picture, they call it ugly women. Y'all don't care about if a woman is ugly. Because you know what, I found some women that are ugly. When they capture in their chamber.
Just read Sirach 26.
You have to be real, man. They can cook.
Like, I was going to say, they know how to treat you.
Yes.
And that's what we're favoring.
Well, you know what it is. You know what it is. Very good point. Because the ones I met in my so they can be humble.
Yeah.
Because when you're like,
Very beautiful, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Unless they grow in a village where there's
well, no, but some of them, like, listen, some of them, they're beautiful, but they have low self-esteem. You know why? Because the inside, the spirit, all the time.
So lock right up.
Like, there's no focus. That's nothing. That is nothing. That's just not what we do. I mean, the inside, that's it.
He's the most extravagant, look.
There goes extra.
Extra mile.
No, you're saying why?
Oh yeah, I said a beautiful woman where even low self-esteem, right? Because what happened is this, right? The most I put a spirit in them, right? So they can be humble. Because when you don't know yourself, you know, like they say, if a snake is hidden, the more it's hidden, he has more chance to survive. Because if a snake comes here and we see him, take him down, kill him.
Also, all those women that are, looking in the mirror all the time trying to make themselves pretty, what they're looking for is something on the outside. So they're not going to go for brothers like us anyway, because we've got that spirit. We're not caring about these carnal things.
We don't need them.
They're going to go for the carnal man. So, it's normally the sisters that ain't, like you said, them sisters that don't look so, and they're still beautiful, but they're humble. So,
they're beautiful. They're beautiful, but they're going through a process. They're beautiful, but they're going through a crisis. That made them maybe less beautiful, but the beauty was birthed from inside. So when you're around these women, you have less burden in Babylon. When you're around these beautiful women that are proud, you have more burden, more problem. You have trouble in the flesh. Yeah, let's get
Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth Yahweh shall be praised.
the women that fear Yahweh shall be praised, man. They are the one that will come in that time.
Myers,
No, Miss Myers,
That's right.
Oh, Lord,
women are going to be, everything is going to be back to how
they're going to be right, they're going to be inside the house. The inward being out there.
What you just said is true. I mean, even look at today's women. Tell me which woman has ever called their man Lord. It's this day and age.
Yeah, they're supposed to be called. Let's call it other one. Well, a lot of these people from West Africa.
Only one.
West Africa, they do. West Africa, they do. How can I cook for you, my Lord?
Precept. 1 Peter 3:6.
You're in the UK,
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
that's right.
Daughters ye are as long as well, and are not afraid of any amazement.
Like if someone reads Sirach 36, it makes sense. Sirach 36 and 24, I believe. Because these women need to understand, you women that are following the truth, you need to understand what time it is. We're coming back to this. Just think it's okay. We're going to treat you right. They're going to treat you, but we're in the right mind. That's right. All right? Don't worry, because you're scared. They're scared of being under us. That's what they're scared of.
But that's why it says,
They don't want to submit.
I was going to say, that's why it says be continually with a godly man. One that fear the Most High.
But yeah, but they will say that there was some wicked men in the truth.
That's right.
Yeah, it's true, but the Most High will take away the goods.
That's right.
Yeah, the wicked man. What does it say?
This is Sirach chapter 36 and verse 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth.
He that get, because see, that's what you need to understand, women. Go on.
He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
Right. Go on.
And help like unto himself.
Right. A help like unto himself. So you women are like, when you say assistant, the PA. When you PA to this little man, personal assistant.
That's what
you are. And not only that, you're my possession now. So you can't go into Mr. Ali right around the corner to give him the piece. It has to be mine. Only mine. And now let me put you in a dress, a long dress, and a long everything your comes so that the next man, Kapenyanya they used to so they can't see you. Kapenyanya used to hide the judges, man. But no, I'm just saying so you can be covered and act right. But you're my possession. But you don't want to be a possession in his kingdom. So the Most High have to, for those who right now are thinking that they're goddess, the Most High gonna lick you. Yeah. They're gonna humble you, man. It's coming. So that's when that Isaiah 4 gonna be manifesting. Everybody coming and say, my Lord, listen, I'm not asking you to take your, I just want your name.
That's right. That's right.
The name in marriage, the name in, I want to be under the authority, I want to be under your protection. You know what I mean? Teach, I want you to teach me. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to happen. So get prepared for that, man. For those who are in the truth, you already know, you're already in order. At least try to be in order. You know what I'm saying? But sincere. Yeah, man, let's go to the next one.
Literally, a man, woman, a female servant.
But a female what?
Female servant.
So you're a servant, man. So you know, you can carry on, you can bring that
So
scholarship.
what woman means? Womb, man. When you say man, it means man and woman. It doesn't just, it's not gender specific.
That's a very good point.
Womb, W-O-M-B, to the front of man, indicating that it is a woman.
Alright, okay, that's another complicated version of the scholarship.
What they're teaching is this new age stuff now. They're teaching that the man actually comes from the woman, you know, and then when they're teaching the penis is in the vagina.
But that's the reason why I went out, because they say that I am my woman, my mom birthed me. I am a man and a woman, so therefore I can tap into that energy. Because you know that little X-Nice, you know that he said that, I don't know if it's fake or whatever, but I had his pregnant. Little X-Nice.
It's fake.
It's fake. All right.
They're pushing that.
They're pushing that energy, the feminine energy, you know what I'm saying, so we can be.
You see that every day.
Exactly. And you know, Bristol is used to be a very alpha male area.
Yeah, without a doubt.
See, you see, Esau is very technical. So what do you do first? You gentrify the place, then you can bring it out there and make it nice. That's the reason why we're in Bristol. That's the reason why we're in Bristol.
10 years ago, there's no way you could have had that much.
That's why in his days he's to be destroyed.
Yeah,
basically, because like you said, they will never have this is modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, man. This needs to go, man. ASAP.
But it's a good, that's why I say, don't even, see, when I see that, I'm happy, you know why?
Because you know the time.
Exactly.
You know the time we're living.
You know the time we're in. And it means that the Most High is coming with fury. When you see them walking about like that, Jake walking about like that means the Most High is next. So call on y'all about Shem Yahushai. You know, it's a good, so I don't even complain when I see them. I don't even want to give them my energy. Bring it out, my brother.
Ecclesiastes, chapter 26.
Please clear the cameras. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26, verse 15.
Bring that up.
A shamefaced and faithful
Right.
woman,
The shamefaced,
faithful woman
faithful man.
is a double grace.
Right, it's a double grace, man. So
And
at some point in the truth, we want to experiment that. We know that when captivity is going to be a bit hard, but there are the shamefaced, man. So we want to get ready. But like you say, that's a portion of a good man. You know what I'm saying? To be a good man, just because you're in the truth doesn't make you necessarily a good man. Potentially, you are, but you have to put in work. You have to change your ways. You know, I'm not saying just coming to camp or having video. Just you yourself when you're at home, like changing your old, getting rid of the old man. Because the most I see. All right, so I tell you, bring the women that are ready.
You are when no one's looking.
Yeah. When you're on your own, man. That's what I'm doing. When you're on your own, what do you do? You know what I mean? You got a precept?
Yeah, just for clarity's sake, because I made a statement earlier and I could say it's a bit complicated, so I want to edify. No, it's alright, I want to edify. The word man is not gender specific. So when you say mankind, you're not talking about all the men on the planet, you're talking about everybody on the planet. So the word man just signifies human beings. So when they attach womb to the front of the word man, they're specifying which type of man they refer to, which is a woman. Because woman actually means womb, man. So I hope I hope you're edified.
We're gonna keep that biblically. We're gonna be, you know, saying the woman is a servant. That's easy for us. Yeah, we're gonna keep it because there's many levels to that layer, but we're gonna use that layer saying that the woman is a servant. And that's the energy we're gonna bring out. And they are under us. Oh yeah, carry on.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 15.
Take it from the top.
Yeah. A shamefaced and faithful woman
Shamefaced and faithful woman
is a double grace.
Isn't that one of the things in Second Timothy? Faith.
Yeah, there's something that I like, man. When the woman is continuing. That thing turned me on, man.
Yeah, because this,
I love it.
this kingdom produces that masculine spirit in the men, in the woman, then, you know what I'm saying?
So charming when they kind of that. Kind of something we have to be crooked with that thing. When they walk by, when the men run them and then never get you right. And then you take them and you take them right. That's what the Muslims don't do. You don't bring them, take them right. That's right.
In that order. He says he recovered.
I can't wait for that. You know that. You know that.
In the kingdom, man, you know, when I'm trying to play, you know, this snaring game.
Say that again. That's a very important point. They're not confident. That's what it means. We go broken. You know that we go broken. A lot of men got low self-esteem. And when you come in this truth, the low self-esteem is erased. And you become a man. Your vibration is up. I mean, I used to be a fine guy, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I had to build the low self-esteem in me. Because I grew up with money. Tough. And then the most I put a spirit on me. And then I'm more confident now because that's spiritual thing. But when we call this DJ to come, that thing is a joke. Because in that time, they will have no confidence when they see the confidence. Look, I'm telling you, bro, trauma brings low self-esteem. Trauma brings low self-esteem, my brother. A lot of us back in the day having low self-esteem because we got traumatized. Daddy weren't there, or sometimes we got abused by the next man when I was in the house. All of that. You know what I'm saying? So when the most I come now, it up the vibration, man. So these chicks better come in the truth. That's the only way. That's why he say Ezekiel 9, put the Kawan on the men that are signed. The Kawan means a lot of things in there. Yeah, carry on, bro. Carry on.
Yeah. Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 15.
Yeah.
A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace.
Double grace.
And her continent mind.
Hey, that's the question that, what's his name? Job.
Elisha. Oh, yeah, Job. Yeah. What a blessing. Yeah.
A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued.
And a what?
Continent mind cannot be valued.
Continent mind.
Oh, she got a good mind, she's humble.
Yeah.
She will never sit down and meditate, terror upon a man. Yeah. Yes.
That's basically what happened.
But a lot of these men are not content. That Proverbs 31, bro, that's going to be easy. Let me keep them.
This is what they insisted in my stride for, really.
Yeah.
Proverbs 31 verses 30. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain.
Yeah.
But a woman that feareth Yahweh shall be praised.
And this is the type of sisters we need in this truth, man. You know, and that's what the sisters in the truth will be seeking to obtain, to be that Proverbs 31 sister. And in the kingdom there'll be Proverbs 32, you see. There ain't no 32.
It's a way of saying it. Jake is like that. Jake has bars. You know what I mean?
There would have been a prophet, whether they were
See, right now, one man. So sometimes we look at them like, wow. A lot of brothers deal with women that is in the word because, yeah, you have to deal with a woman. Everybody got a portion. Some women in the word, they're good, they're not like we want, but it's up to you to teach them. That's your portion as well, man. Teach them, and when the time comes, you know, they shall be blessed. Because some of them will be saved based on that. And then they will be changed like us, and then they will become super, they will become problem 32.
Yeah, this is the book of Titus, chapter 2. Starting at verse 1, right?
Verse 3 to 5.
Verse 3 to 5. Verse 3. The aged woman, likewise, that they be in behavior.
When I say the aged woman, not necessarily okay, no. One-fold is the woman of age. One. You can have a woman, how do you say that? Or is that one? Thank you, Minister of Education. Now, you have one that is 25, but she learned from when she was 20. And she mastered the truth. So she's the age as well. Spiritually.
That's right.
She can teach anyone.